Have you ever thought about what your diet consists of? We start every new year and we think, okay, I'm going to go on a new diet. Well, first of all, you need to figure out why you're going on a new diet. Maybe you're trying to lose weight. Maybe you're trying to eat healthier, make healthier choices. Maybe you're trying to deal with some sort of symptom relief or disease processes. Whatever it may be, of course, we need to always consult our healthcare professional. But what does a diet really mean? Is it just about food consumption? Is it just about the food and drinks that we eat? Or is it so much more? Hi, I'm Dr. Asha. Thank you so much for joining me today. Let's talk about how your diet is so much more than the foods that you eat. When you look up the word diet in the dictionary, it does revolve, every definition practically that you find, it does revolve about what we consume, the food consumption. And although I will say, yes, it is very important to our health and well-being, it's not everything. The way that we think, the thoughts that we have, the way that we feel, what we watch, what we listen to, the people that we're around, the environment that we're in, those are also all part of our diet. You may never have thought about this, but I want to talk to you about this because a lot of times we think of our health as being separated into physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, and that they're all separate from each other. But the fact of the matter is that everything is connected. The way that you think impacts the way that your body functions. The way that your body functions, the way that you take care of your body impacts the way that you think, the way that you're able to be focused or energized, the way that you emotionally feel, whether you feel happy or whether you feel like because you're in pain all the time that you feel down and you feel anxious and fearful. It all connects. When we're talking about what we consume, what we put into our bodies and minds, okay, definitely our minds. I have to say, this is the biggest thing. Working over the years with several patients and clients over the years, thousands and thousands of people, one of the biggest things that I have seen is that the way that you think really makes a huge difference. So even, for example, even if you are choosing to go on a diet for weight loss, there's nothing wrong with that. That's great. But I will tell you, it's not just about cutting your calories. It's not just about choosing healthier foods, although that definitely helps, increasing your activity, all of those things. If you're not thinking positively and you don't think that you can accomplish it, it's going to impact your results. That is why some people will lose weight easier than others. Now, I know that's a very superficial general statement to make because there are so many different factors. It's not just about that. It's not so cut and dry. Otherwise, it would be really easy for all of us to lose the weight whenever we want to lose the weight or gain the weight whenever we want to gain the weight. I know people that go on a diet to gain weight too. But whatever it may be, you've got to think about what's going on in your mind. What are you putting in your mind? So, for example, if you're somebody that deals with a lot of anxiety and fear, and you are constantly watching thrillers and crime programs or things that put you at the edge of your seat, it may be enjoyable. I'm not saying that you can't watch it, but do you see how that could be directly relating to increasing your own anxiety and fear? It is what we consume. We are consuming that. And if you're doing that more times throughout the day, than you realize, or even having recurring thoughts of fear, not being good enough, very much like always in a negative self-talk. What's interesting, I worked with a client several years ago that was she was very, very good at hiding the fact that she was speaking so negatively to herself all the time. And what happened is people in her company, she was a boss, felt like she was arrogant. They experienced her whenever I interviewed some of the people that she was really working on in her role as a supervisor, as a manager of the entire company. It helps to know what other people and how other people perceive you. One of the biggest things was a lot of the other people felt not good enough as well. They felt very judged and they felt like the standards were so high that they couldn't be met. Now, she was not consciously projecting her own insecurities on them, but they could feel it because she was constantly running this tape in her own head about not being good enough and having a lot of negative self-talk. So you've got to realize that whatever we consume, also in our mind, whatever we're feeding, this is why it's so important that we read positive things, that we watch positive things, that we're not constantly consuming negativity or angry types of things, fighting, violence, all of these things. Granted, it can be entertaining and you can watch it every once in a while, but if you're doing that majority of the time, you are already rewiring your brain to function in a different way. And that's going to in turn affect the way you feel physically, emotionally. It could be creating an agitation within you to where everywhere you go, you have arguments with everybody. Do you know people like that? I know I've seen people like that, that no matter where they go, they get into an argument with somebody, no matter what. And it's because, it could be stemming from something physical pain that they're having. It could be stemming from something that they're telling themselves in their mind, which in turn really affects their energy levels, the way that they come across, whether they're more positively inclined rather than negatively inclined. It really is all connected. And I want you to start looking at this, because if you start to look at, for example, the people that you're around, if majority of them are constantly negative, how do you think your mindset is going to be? You're going to be more inclined to be negative, because if you're positive around them, they probably are going to make fun of you or insult you or not like it, maybe not even want to be around you. But it's going to be a constant struggle within you, creating disbalance and disharmony within yourself. When you're looking at what you're consuming, I want you to look this week. Now, I don't want you to change anything this week, okay? Don't change anything. Do things as you usually do. Eat the foods that you do, drink the drinks that you do, get the physical activity that you do, whatever it is, keep your habits the same. But just for this week alone, I want you to observe. How do you feel and how do you think after reading something or watching the news or reading an article, listening to a podcast, watching a video? I want you to feel in your body. How do I feel? Do I feel tension in my chest? Do I feel tension in my shoulders? Do I have low back pain? It's been interesting. I've seen a lot of patterns over the years, especially with treating patients, of certain things that have been going on for them. For example, when people are financially stressed out or maybe between jobs, they tend to come in with lower back pain. It's very, very interesting. That tends to be their go-to of what your body's telling you that something is not okay, that maybe you're thinking too negatively or that things are really stressing you out. Now, we can't get rid of the stress factors, okay? This is something all of us have stress, and stress is good to a certain degree. What we need to learn to do is learn how to manage them in a healthy way. And this is about changing your diet, changing how you respond to things, changing what you consume, whether it's through your reading, your listening, your watching, the people that you're hanging around with. Take a look at your diet this week. I want you to just observe. How do you feel? Check in with yourself. How do you feel around certain people? Do you always get off the phone with a certain friend and feel, worse about yourself than when you did whenever you got on the phone with them? It's not that they're bad people. It's not that you're a bad person. Nothing like that. There's no judgment on this. But this is just to raise your awareness of exactly what you are consuming and how your experience is determined by that. If you're consuming negativity and negative things, how can you expect a positive outcome? Something to look at. This can change. I would love to hear from you. Drop us a comment, email us at info@drashaprasad.com. I would love to hear how your diet is looking and what changes you intend to make. Thank you so much for joining me today. Be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell to be alerted of our weekly content that we release out to you. Definitely thank you so much for joining us. Visit our website, drashaprasad.com, and get on our mailing list. Thanks again, and until next time.